The Honourable David Cunliffe.
Thank you, Mr Chairman. It is a pleasure to take a brief call in this committee stage debate on the Gambling Amendment Bill number 3, a bill which the Labour opposition supports with reservation. The reason, sir, that it supports it is that we commend the objective of increasing the transparency around the proceeds, the conditions, the regulated persons who are and who are not able to undertake the management and regulation of a Class 4 gaming establishment, which includes pubs and clubs. So the background to that is, of course, that clubs such as RSAs and cosmopolitan clubs and many others are integral parts of our community, and we do not seek to totally ban legitimate gaming from those venues where it is the wish of the community to retain them. Having said that, sir, we have some significant reservations about the bill's failure to prohibit, in fact, its willingness to provide for commission payments to venue operators, and I turn the attention of the House to Clause 6, amending Section 30 on page 6 of Part 1 of the bill. The only commission that is paid to or received by a person for conducting the gambling is a commission payment to a venue operator that complies with regulations made under Section 3711DD, which sets out a bunch of regulations. Now, what is interesting, sir, is that it is a weakness in the current law that while there are no commission payments allowable, there are cost payments available for venue costs in gaming premises. And there is some history, which I'm sure DIA officials would attest to, about operators bulking up those venue costs as a way of, shall we say, maximising the operator margins and minimising the payout. And, sir, it is a matter which officials have worked hard to police across the sector as one issue. Embedded in it, sir, is the potential issue of conflict of interest in the way in which recommendations for disbursements are made, particularly by some of the large gaming trusts, which rely quite heavily on the recommendations of individual proprietors of pubs and clubs. And the story goes something like, we'll get a grant for your rugby league or other club, fill in the blank, to have some new uniforms or sport equipment if you, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, continue to get your wholesale supplies from my outlet for the next 3 years. And that is why, sir, there must be an arm's length relationship between the proprietor and the decision-making body of the community grant disbursement as part of the increased transparency provided for in Part 1 of this bill. And the ability to make commission payments, rather than increasing the transparency of that system, actually decreases it, and it is a clause that we remain concerned about and we will track in the implementation of the bill, because it allows more discretion for the venue operator to build into those commission payments what might otherwise be considered to be margin, and that in turn complicates or conflagrates with the conflict of issue that I referred to earlier. Some of the more useful parts of Part 1 include some more transparency about prohibited relationships between operators with immediate family and family members, and other transparency measures which we support. We're trying to take a balanced approach to this legislation, and again, I would note that we would not seek to prohibit well-managed gaming from community venues. Sir, in making a short contribution on Part 1, I do wish to draw attention to the, perhaps we'd call it irony, of this bill, which is seeking to improve transparency and the lack of transparency in the process around the largest single provider of gaming venues, the Sky City Convention Centre, and the importance, sir, of ensuring that there is a good process, sir, around the way in which any future consents for gaming machines gaming licences, the term of such licences and the conditions under which such licences are operating, consistent with Part 1 of this Act. That due process, sir, remains essential to this industry.
Thank you, Mr.